One day Henry wanted to rest, but Percy was talking to some engines. "What are you engines doing here?" hissed Henry. "This shed is for the Fat Controller's engines. Go away."
Hey now, Henry is in no mood today, that's for sure. This is the most territorial we have seen him. I mean, there was that time when Duck and Percy angered him, James and Gordon, but this isn't even Tidmouth Sheds. And what do you know, those two yellow itty-bitty tank engines look familiar, except they haven't been given names. Oh well, guess we'll never know who they are. Also, is it just me, or did Top Hat have Knapford Harbor built in all of about what seems to be a few episodes? I'm not sure how much time that constitutes for, but after doing the research, that's what this district is called. And if that's the same name as the one Trevor the traction engine helped clear, and the one Percy, Toby, and Thomas all helped bring stone to, then holy Moses, that was fast. To what Percy was talking about, though, to those smaller engines, was about a time he helped take passengers through a storm. Henry, knowing how much Percy loves stretching the truth, felt he was being obnoxious.
"They are silly, and so are you. Water's nothing to an engine with determination. Huh!" He ran off to the harbour singing. Once an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain.
Ooh, that was not cool, Percy. Here we go again with opening up old wounds, delving all the way back to episode 3 of season 1. Even Henry found this to be overdone. I just don't see the good in having these old stories brought up again. We are really just beating a dead horse here. Let's move on. Later, Percy met with Thomas at the quay. Thomas couldn't help but bring up the board sitting in front of them, one that looked exactly like the one he didn't listen to one time before. He warned Percy to not cross the board, explaining to him that he fell down a mine because of it. Percy, on the other hand, took this to the literal extreme and didn't see how it applied since there wasn't a mine anywhere in sight. And at that moment, Thomas should have face-palmed, or face-buffered. I don't know how he would do it. You get what I mean. Percy found Thomas's advice to be unnecessary. And to justify that, he devised a plan that was in no way going to justify anything that he was thinking.
One day he whispered to the trucks, "Will you give me a bump when we get to the quay?" The trucks had never been asked to bump an engine before. They giggled and chatted about it. "Driver doesn't know my plan," chuckled Percy.
Yeah, I don't know where Percy's brain is this time, but it's obviously not where it should be. The Gordonism has taken over. Mr. Smugstack thinks he can do no wrong, when in fact he has set himself up for failure. No question about that. The trucks were already starting to get too rowdy. But he didn't think they were going to sabotage old innocent Percy. After all, he did politely ask them to bump him. Wrong. But this is finally a showing viewers have been wanting to see. Instead of the trucks being their whiny little selves, complaining about how they have to be moved somewhere, now they're all in, excited to cause some trouble. Here's an interesting thought, though, stated by Percy. Listen to it carefully.
"I'll pretend to stop at the station, but the trucks will push me past the board. Then I'll make them stop. I can do that whenever I like. Every wise engine knows that you cannot trust trucks."
He'll do what? Stop himself? He clearly said, "I can do that whenever I like." Is that so? Are you sure you don't mean your operators can do that whenever they like? I only ask that because as Percy began his little show, the trucks did more than what they were asked, and knocked Percy's driver and fireman off his cab. And with that, Percy couldn't stop whenever he liked.
"Oh!" said Percy, sliding past the board. "That's enough!"
Nice going, Percy. You got exactly what was coming to you. I hope you feel stupid. And this only proves that these engines cannot stop unless their operators apply the brake. This episode only triple confirms this because in the runaway, Thomas couldn't stop either until someone applied his brake. And same goes for an old iron when Edward rescues James. So this nonsense of stopping whenever I like rubbish is utter ignorance. And Top Hat saw right through that ruse for sure. Although I'm not sure how he could have known it was his fault. If Percy's driver and fireman were knocked off, how could Percy stop? Also, the only way Top Hat could have known if Percy caused this problem was if he was there to hear him ask the trucks to bump him. I'm not saying Percy doesn't deserve a scolding, but it's strange how Top Hat knows it was his fault to begin with.
It was dark when they brought floating cranes to rescue Percy. He was too cold and stiff to move by himself.
The next morning, Percy was on Henry's goods train to be taken to the works for repairs. You can bet your axles you're gonna get "I told you so, Percy."
Well, 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 chuckled Henry. I am surprised. You need more determination, Percy. Water's nothing to an engine with determination, you know. Perhaps you will like it better next time. Percy is quite determined that there won't be a next time.
We'll see about that. This is Percy's second Gordonism moment here. How many more will it take for him to remember not to be so arrogant? Who knows? This story was alright. Seeing Percy getting what was coming to him for being Mr. Boastful Buffers was good to see. After all, it wasn't nice to bring up Henry's tunnel incident again. When will we let these old mishaps die? I actually don't mind references, but these are always in bad taste. Always when someone wants to be a buzzkill. A better example of this would be Thomas referencing his mistake when passing the danger sign on his own accord. We all know how that went. What's even funnier is that the board is the exact same board as the one Thomas went by. So he knew for sure he was not going to disregard it. And being that Percy and Thomas were good friends at this point, Percy really should have taken Thomas's word as gospel and not even questioned it. But I also get the idea that you'll never know what to not do until you make that same mistake. Percy didn't believe Thomas, so he ended up falling down into the water. I'm sure after this, though, he won't make that same mistake. I hope. I still can't get over, though, how Top Hat knew Percy was the cause of his own undoing. He told nobody but the trucks. So it seems odd that Top Hat knew the individual to blame was Percy. However, what we have settled now is that no matter what these engines say, they cannot, I repeat, cannot stop by themselves. They need someone to apply the brake. Now as for starting by themselves, still kinda stuck on that. As for music, we don't get a whole lot of variety here, but that's okay. Percy's theme is a definite, especially if he's planning on playing any games. In this entry, you can also hear the Happy Engines theme and the Breakdown Train theme, but in a slower tempo, when Percy is being hoisted out of the key. By the way, did anyone notice that box-like engine roll by in the back? Wonder whether that's going to be a character we are going to see soon. The same could be said for those little yellow muskrat engines we saw earlier. Lastly, the locations we see here is majority Knapford Harbor and a few meadowlands. What I still can't believe is how quickly Knapford Harbor was completed. That's just shocking to me. Next episode is Pop Goes the Diesel. Thanks for watching.